Okay, today I'm supposed to talk about the election department, which have announced some changes of rules. Maybe a lot of Singaporeans do not know about how election rules are changed over time, right? But I can assure you, right, the rules are changing. Every time the rules change, it becomes more difficult for us for some reasons, right? Is very difficult for us actually. Okay, before I go to the election rules, let us update ourselves with some of the things going on. Okay, the internet is actually going all rounds about these vaccine things again. After Australian, if you remember Australian, one county was verified up. I think they have a lot of excess death after the COVID vaccination. So they actually called for a ban for the Federal Reserve, federal government and state government to ban. Now it can become a Slovak government actually thinking of banning mRNA vaccines. Right, this is the latest news, just 2 days, 3 days ago. Right, of course, the Singaporeans will not see it in the normal mainstream media because they do not want Singaporeans to know what is happening in the world with regards to the COVID vaccines. But this is a bit controversial because the anti-vax member of parliament, right, did a report, produced a report, but he's quite anti. He even goes to the extent to say that the pandemic is fake and all that, right? But it's a mix of half truth, right? Because nobody knows exactly whether the pandemic is real or not, or is man-made and all that, right? Up to now. But one thing for sure, they are basically calling for a stop for the vaccination. And the health ministers of Slovak government actually resigned over this, right? There are controversy here, right? And the criticism of the report, of course, the usual thing that is unfounded, unverified, whatever, unaccepted by the global expert community. But even the expert community in the world is actually not really have a consensus what is happening. But we are slowly seeing a lot of things coming up from the world, right? And okay, that is for the international stuff. Now, this is the local stuff. We have these news that come out from Business Time and some reports. I think these reports are Knight Frank. He came to say that the Singapore F&B, the food and beverage businesses, right, survived COVID, but was killed by rising costs and competition, with thousands closing down. Up to now, is over. I think it was says that over 2,465, almost 2,005 up to now. During the COVID time, we have less than 200 closures per month, but now we have more than 200 closures per month, right? These are all the fine dinings and all that. And you know what? When this F&B outlet closes, most of them are actually locals, and it was replaced by a lot of Chinese food. Chinese investors came in, operators came in, and it's actually here. I think in the past few months, many new Chinese F&B brands have entered Singapore. It's a new brands, not the current brands that we have, right? Hot pot. I do not know why the Chinese like hot pot so much, and in the Singapore climate, it's so hot, already so hot, but Singaporeans seems to like hot pot. I don't know. Like Bingxue, famous ice cream tea and tea chain. Nothing to do with me. I didn't supply them tea, right? But some Chinese brand actually left Singapore and came back also. Okay, so these are the reports. Now, I am in the F&B sector, basically, because I supply tea, right? However, I think it is not going to be healthy, right? The current system, we are seeing more and more Chinese restaurant, Chinese brand coming up. Now, not that I don't like them, right? But in fact, some of them are my clients, right? Uh, but the fact is this: when a small economy like Singapore are over dependent of a certain country's investment, right, is unhealthy. If there's anything wrong or diplomatic, you know, the tension in South China Sea or even Taiwan, right, we will be caught in a hot spot, right, a very hard spot, and we make the wrong decision, or rather, uh, a decision that doesn't goes with the, this country, they'll pull out the investment, and that's where our economy will be so-called beholden, right? It's part and parcel of international politics. In the past, US was the one who go around investing, and if it doesn't like you, you pull back all the investment. And that is exactly what is happening right now in China. A lot of Western money investment actually pulled out of China, right, because of sanction and all that, right? So over dependence on a certain, not only a sector like F&B, commercial investment also, over dependence on a certain country will result in our particular diplomacy, right? A lot of countries face these problems, but in the F&B sector, is quite obvious. If you walk around, you can see, oh, how come all this funny hot pot, right? And strange enough, we have a lot of xiang cai. Xiang cai means Hunan cai, right? Which are very spicy. Sometimes I felt that it's more spicy than our local curries and delicacy, right? They have lot of this coming in, and we start to lose our food culture in some ways, right? And it's really not healthy at all, right? I do not know what is happening. A lot of money, the Chinese money is coming in, and they invest in a lot of things beside F&B. If you walk Xia Street, which is next to Bugis, it used to have Japanese food. It used to have uh, certain cuisine, right? Different countries, but now the whole street is full of Chinese food, right? I was shocked, right? I did visit that place for about 2 years. When I went back, wow, all the hot pot. Sometimes last time I got the Korean food, Japanese food. I used to eat sushi down there, right? But now no more, right? All are filled up with Chinese cuisine or delicacy, right? It is not healthy, and rental is killing because the Chinese company is actually quite aggressive. They have the money, so they can put up with high rent. Of course, landlord likes right? Who don't want to earn more, right? So they took out the prime location, and their pricing is not cheap. Some of these restaurants, I just have one. I just ate in one of the restaurant recently, and they have this marketing is very strong. Membership discount, oh, like you will have a put into their wallet. They are very advanced. It's not like Singapore uh, companies anymore, right? And they, apart from having a membership, you have a discount. They even give you a wallet If you put in $100, $300, they'll give you additional $50 maybe, right? If you put in $200, they will give you $50 or $20, right? Extra. It's basically a discount lah. But you can only use this amount, the total 300 plus, right, in their outlet. So in the Chinese concept, it's actually changing. They round up your money, your consumption power to their outlets, right? It's a very powerful tool. And people unmindfully will actually buy because people like sales, like discount, right? And they capture the market in such a way. And I seen some reviews, oh, wow, say this very good and all that. That's why I go and try. I never really go and put money into the wallet. I just want to try. Right? For those of you who know me, I am actually foodie. Right? People who like tea will like to have good food with their tea. So I go and try. The description of their raw materials is so high up and all that. But when I taste, it's so only. Like, marketing is very, very advanced. Unexpectedly, last time when I went, I remember when I went to China, I find that their marketing really sucks, right? The design and all that. Now they learn all the things from the Japanese, the Taiwanese, and they are totally different, right? But in Singapore, we seems to be stuck in a very primitive stage as compared to them. We have to do something, right? 加油. Okay. Oh, okay. I have talked about this Medishield hike in my last talk. Right? Up to 30%, more than 30% increase for some age group. Right? It's crazy. It's basically crazy. How can that happen? They are going to increase 30% within 3 years. Slowly increase. Right? Of course, our health minister came out to say, oh, nothing to be afraid of. Okay, we will put money into the healthcare system, subsidies. All right, the household threshold for each subsidies will be raised by $100 to $800. But only for 3 years. Okay, so you will not be affected. You will not even feel the pinch, even if the Medishield went up. All right, yeah, and so on and so forth. But I want to say this is not sustainable. Right? After 3 years, how? You can continue to help to pay for Singaporeans Medishield premium for 3 years. But after 3 years, when you raise 30% more, we are going to pay this premium for life. That's why it's called Medishield Life. Right? No joke. 3 years compared to next 30 years, or some of the young people will be 50 years at least. Right? How to survive? And the premium actually increase if you get older. How to survive? 1,000 plus per year premium? It's no joke. Right? We do not have the data, the actual data on what is happening. Why the sudden increase in Medishield premium? And what are the things they are going to increase in coverage? And why there's a need to increase such coverage? Right? Are there increase in the incident of certain maybe cancer? Maybe stroke patient? Right? There's no full data on that. I want to take a look. Right? My strength by now, people should know that I can tell a story out from a data. That is my strength. In fact, a few, a couple of friends come to the same conclusion at a different time. Right? Maybe because we were talking about election coming, each parties and each political leaders, prominent leaders, and all that have their different strength, that. And these friends of mine at different occasion, different meetings, actually say that people can tell a story from a picture and a photo, but Go Ming Sing tell a story from the data. Right? That is what I'm trained for when I was in universities taking my honors studying economics. That's how I train myself to look for data, discrepancies, context of data, how this data come about, right? And what it should be and what it should not be, and why possibly it become like this, and why it should not go the other way. And that is the story. Data can tell a lot of stories, and we do comparison of data, cross check, right? Yeah, because data collection is not easy, definitely, and there's there bound to have discrepancies here and there, but it should not go too far, right? So that's how I tell a story, and that's how I actually guess or educated guess, or inference we call it, uh, what will most probably be the issue, right? But in this case, the Medishield case, uh, if you have the data, please let me know. I want to take a look at the data. Right? Data to me is life and death, right? Just like what I've done for COVID vaccination and this and that. Okay. Pritam Charles have a twist outside of the trial of the courtroom, right? So Donald Low, who was somehow forced to go to Hong Kong University to teach instead of a LKY school of public policies. He was a I was I read somewhere he was some associate dean or something like that, right, in his field. Right, commented on the testimony given by the witness, right, Miss Low, and he was immediately harmed by the PAP MP, right? Defamation, threatened to sue him for defamation, and then the AGC came down hard on him, saying he's a subjudice, perjury, and all that, right? But PAP IBs also did the same, right? TOC actually carried an article. I didn't have it here. Okay, that says that hey, PAP IBs Facebook site also commented on the case and harmed them, right? And commented on Pritam as if he's sure guilty at that. No? That's also subjudice, right? That means you're actually second or already decided for the judge whether he's he's guilty or not. That is actually should not be. Of course, a lot of opposition supporters also must be very careful, right? You cannot come to a conclusion that, oh, Pritam is not guilty, right? This must be make up and all that. No, you should not, right? It is for the learned judge to decide, right? So this site ran by Richard Wing, right? Suddenly was mentioned, and all the posts about with regards to Pritam's case actually disappeared from that Facebook page, right? Now, that is a problem of all this nonsense. To me, I have said that regardless of what the outcomes of this trial is. Basically, not only Workers' Party, but opposition parties as a whole take a very hard hit, right, from public perception, especially those middle ground. Right? People start to come and mock at me, to say, hey, opposition is parties are full of liars. Right? I really very pissed off. Right? Hey, that's not my party. Why you group opposition parties as a whole? See, that's not 关我屁事。Right? Opposition full of naive people. Huh? There's nothing to do with my party as well. Opposition parties full of stupid people. That's not my party as well. 要一竹竿打翻全部的人啊！哎 ，in one swap, these friends are actually middle ground, right? Right? They start to mock at us and all that. I feel very bad. Right? I feel very bad. All the dirty laundry, which is supposed to be Workers' Party internal affairs, are put up to the public view. And in the end, people just point guns at us. It's got nothing to do with me. Well, maybe not, maybe yes, because I was from Workers' Party before. I also feel very sad. In fact, some of the friends actually came to me and said, Ming Sing, you see, I know you have spent time in building up the initial phase of a revamp for Workers' Party in 2001 to 2006. You must feel very bad, when all these things come out. And that is exactly what I feel. Right? No matter what is the judgment, the damage, enormous damage has been done. And I really hope, I only have one hope in my life when I get involved in opposition politics. Right? The path to a fully matured democracy, right, development, should not be hindered by all these happenings, all this nonsense. You cannot blame PAP. It's self-inflicted. Nobody asked Risha Khan to go and lie in Parliament, correct? She did it on her own. Right? It's really self-inflicted in every sense. I do not know what to say. Okay? I do not know what to say. I just hope that voters, whether you are middle ground, right, sitting on the fence, right, or whether you are opposition or even PAP supporters, look, sama-sama lah. Right? There are no angels in PAP as well. There are no saints. They also have people who corrupt, corruption, adultery, right? Sama-sama. And that is a fact of life, of human nature. And that is why we need democracy. Democracy, I have always tell people, democracy is built upon the premise, the first principle, of human nature. That is, humans are not perfect. And they are not consistent. They change over time. And they can be corrupt over time, with or without power. Okay? Because impermanence is part and parcel of a human nature. I cannot even give you guarantee that I will not change 20 years down the road. I definitely will change. My hair will get whiter. And my mind will get slower. Like, definitely change. Right? And that's why we need democracy. Right? And as my friend always tell me, democracy cannot exist if we do not have opposition. Right? I will just try to do my best in this coming election. And I hope look beyond all this nonsense, and we must realize that our situation cannot stay at this stage, right? Where both the major parties, the ruling parties, as well as the major party, there is the Workers' Party, are having signs of their members, right, who are adulterers, who lied, right? And Iswara is corrupt, so-called. Of course, people say it's not a corruption that he was charged with, but later on, right, PAP Prime Minister Lawrence was saying it's a corrupt charges. 165 is it a corrupt charges or is it not corrupt charges? Section 165 is not under Prevention of Corruption Act. Okay, so but to us, it's actually a corruption act. Basically, is that, and we have so many issues. We just cannot be stagnant, and we have to look for alternative. If the two party, right, like that, then look for the next better player, right? Or put even more parties into it. That's what other democracies have been doing. Right? You cannot just trust one party, definitely. Right? And you cannot trust two parties totally. Then you put in more parties, let them fight themselves. Right? At the very least, apart from the entertainment and popcorns that we consume, looking at all the funny things that are coming out of all the bickering, right? At least we know their so-called checks and balances is being implemented effectively, where they actually start to check each other. Not only the opposition will check the ruling party, but the ruling party also check on the opposition, right? And that is the nature of democracy. Is messy. It's definitely very messy, right? But if it's not messy, right, own self check, own self will never work. We have experienced so many incidents where we see and we look at it, own self check, own self doesn't work. It doesn't work. I would rather have a messy situation, slightly messy situation like this, rather to believe wholeheartedly in something that proven not working. Own self check, own self. Right? Now, my party is in the midst of drafting a public statement, right? A press statement over the income and allowance. The pronunciation is French actually, but it's a German company. But I just call it alliance, right? Because I speak only English. I don't speak, right? We are drafting a press statement. After thinking through the whole process, okay, the income saga with this is a key issue I pointed out. Right? The opposition MPs and NCMPs in Parliament have brought out very good points, right? Why it is not reviewed and all that. But the fundamental points, when I sit down, I reflect on all this information and instinct. It seems that even the opposition MPs in Parliament have taken for granted, or rather by the explanation by Edwin Tong. I think the Edwin Tong is a minister for the MCCY, right? That it is okay, it is correct, or nothing not is nothing wrong for MCCY to exempt to give the exemption to income to transfer not to transfer this $2 billion so-called surplus, or they call it excess capital, right, to the public account, which is for this cooperative liquidation account, but to transfer to the new entity, private corporation, also called NTUC income, because there is a switch of income status. They accepted the explanation, and that's it. I do not accept the explanation. Why? Because the amount is $2 billion. It's not 20 cents, it's not $2, it's not $200, it's not $2,000, right? It's not even $2 million, it's not $20 billion, not $200 million, but it's $2,000 billion. That's $2 billion. It's a huge sum of money, right? And the ruling party and NTUC always claim, right, they have symbiotic relationship, buddy, right? More than half of the CEC of NTUC are PAP members, cadre members, or ex-MP, or even ex-minister for the chairman of her NTUC enterprise, right? Is that a conflict of interest? Potentially, yes. I'm not saying that uh, there's something wrong with it, right? And what is the processes? Who decide to sign off the exemption? What are the rationales? Of course, they have explained the rationales, but is that enough? Right? I've explained. Now they complain that, when NTUC income sold to Alliance, right, does not have a structure to make sure NTUC income continue to carry out its social mission, which was a promise, so-called, right, made to MCCY when they applied for the exemption. Now, why should this happen if the structure is already there? A legal structure, a legal framework, legally binding framework was already set up when the decision or when the exemption was given to transfer this $2 billion to the new entity in NTUC Income Private Limited. If it's already there, you do not really care who they sell to, what they do, because that is already legal binding contract in whatever forms. But now they are telling us, we are afraid, this transaction have no legal structure, right? To ensure NTUC income continue to serve the social mission, blah blah blah. That is nonsense. That's bullshit. You've forgotten to do it when you make the exemption. That is the crux of the matter, right? 这个是亡羊补牢啊。It means you make the first mistake, the origin sin, I call it, right? Then you suddenly wake up, oh no, right? Okay, this NTUC enterprise, NTUC is a merchant brother with me, we can trust them. But suddenly, someone outside, foreign companies also, as well, largely worse, have full control with 51%, right? They just may not honor the promise made previously. That is exactly what is happening. And for that mistake that you made, you quickly go and amend the laws, which is very, very bad because this law gives more power to the government to intervene with private entities uh, merger and acquisition. Suka, you can, I am not happy, uncle not happy, I will block your merger or acquisition. A lot of Singaporeans do not understand this. They will say, hey, good, you stop. It's wrong. Why? Hazelpua have, I think, even Silver Lim have mentioned it. It's not right. It's a concern. Why? Because we are supposed to be a free, a very free economy with very little government intervention. And that is why MNC's multinational companies like to invest in Singapore, right? You do not have such intervention by the government. Now you set a law that which can interfere with a private decision of merger and acquisition. You're sending you're sending a signal with a bigger implication than NTUC income and a alliance transaction. Right? It's not one time off, Once you set it a price for future application of a merger and acquisition. Our international standing as as a global hub or business hub, right? Especially a financial hub, will take a dent, right? They never thought of the consequences. Suka go and change laws like that. As I explained in my posting, the proper thing to do right from the start, okay, is for MCCY not to transfer this $2 billion directly into NTUC Income Private Limited, the corporation. Because when you do this transfer, it means that you are actually giving them the $2 billion to all the shareholders. That is ridiculous. Because when they act as a cooperative, part of the reasons or most of the reasons why they can accumulate this $2 billion is because of the concession by the government in whatever terms, whether tax concession and whatever terms, which allows them to carry out the social mission as well as accumulate surpluses like that. And when they liquidate it and change it to a private limited, these amounts are supposed to go to public accounts. You cannot suka say, exemption, I give it to you. Hey, this is not small ang pao, $2, $200, not even $2 million, it's $2,000 million, As I said, just because of symbiotic relationship, I trust you, your promise. Cannot. That is not the way you do business. 在商言商, in business, terms and conditions we write up. The proper thing to do is this. Because back then, income says, if we turn into the corporation, we still need the money to expand our business, blah, 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 and all that. Now proven don't need, right? Suddenly, you sold the majority share to a foreign company, then you don't need $2 billion. Then you can kind of put lui put to ba. Cannot one. Right? Legally, they can do that because that $2 billion, after MCCY put the exemption, that $2 billion belongs to the shareholders. They can do anything they want. And that is the origin sin or original mistake, the critical mistake made by MCCY. The proper way of doing this is say, okay, you need the money, I will give you a perpetual loan. What is perpetual? That means indefinite, no time frame one. Right? Until you don't need it, then you return. But come with your interest. And what do I do with the interest? Whether it's 2%, 3%, it's okay. I take this 2%, 3% generated from the interest on this perpetual loan. I go and serve the community with a social mission, whether it's charity or whatever it is. That should be the proper way. Instead of, oh, he promised $100 million only, 100 million out of 2,000 million, for over 10 years some more. Or such promise is less than 0.5% per year. It's cheap loan, man. And it's not even a loan. Okay? To put it that way, the $2 billion is a give away really to the shareholders. I'm shocked. I'm shocked not because of the alliance wanted to do a capital reduction, that means capital extraction or asset stripping, right? After they took over within 3 years. They're in business, man. In business is normal. Your aim of doing business is to make profit. You see the profit, you go in and have a queue and just take it out. It's correct. They have done nothing wrong. So don't go and blame alliance for that, right? They are doing what they are supposed to do as a private entity. Okay? The mistake lies with MCCY, which they didn't want to admit their mistake. They try to rationalize and justify why the exemption is given off. I don't buy that. I don't think if LKY ever still alive and still control will buy that as well. Right? We are not born yesterday. Okay? I mean, I may be a small businessman, but I know what is going on. Right? If such thing happens, I don't buy it. Right? Right? If anyone want to give exemption, which result to a huge monetary transfer from the government coffers to another private entity, you better make sure you have a good reason for it. Right? Actually, there's no good reason. In normal circumstances, civil servants are very kiasu one. Right? Even tax exemption, for example, right? All the terms and conditions will come out. You must employ how many people, promise this and that. What's your investment value? That's how they attract MNCs. If they want to give tax exemption, right? But this not tax exemption. This is basically a gifting of a $2 billion to an entity that convert from a cooperative to a private limited. My goodness, 阿你好坑啊，坑我们的钱啊，right？ 这样慷慨 ，okay。So we are trying to draft a press statement to be released next week, and we have to be very careful, right? You know, this government 做事不可以啦doing proper work, right, is substandard. But when it comes to persecution of opposition and critics, they are number one. Okay? So we have to be very careful. We are actually operating in a very difficult situation, a very difficult environment. I just met M Ravi today. Right? We are friends, M Ravi, right? And I'm very happy to see him as a person who seems to be reborn. He's totally different, right? I've seen him quite a number of times, right? I felt that he has totally transformed after his jail term. He went to jail for 1 month, right? And he actually told me this. Of course, he admitted that he also not perfect lah. He makes mistakes along the way, right? He got a mental condition, right? Everyone knows he's bipolar, so sometimes he didn't take his medicine. He will go extreme, right? But I'm glad that he says this. He says that he actually very grateful that he went into jail. I hope Iswaran will say that, right? But M Ravi actually told me that, in spite of the fact that we still feels that he, as an activist, as a human rights activist, as well as always challenging the constitutional law and all that, he felt that he has been um targeted, by the administration, by the government. But due to his own condition, he also made a lot of mistakes, mental condition, right? He lost his legal license, right? Sent to jail for contempt of court, I think, and so on and so forth. But I said, after reflection, going to jail is the best thing that have happened to him. Interesting, right? Because he said that I don't have my handphone and all that, and I start to have meditation and reflection, right, on his past deeds. He come to one conclusion: yes, this government really cannot make it, right? Too draconian. As I said, they may be mediocre when they come to certain things, management of things like like the MRT, whatever. But when it comes to persecution and chase after critics like him, activists like him, or political critics, they are very efficient and very fast one, right? Very effective one. But I said, as a whole, we still to 怕是美招 one, right? Some people will leave Singapore soon, excel. He was offered asylum by other countries because as a human rights lawyer, there are countries that will be willing to take you in because they know the amount of persecution that you will face. Right? But he said, I did not take them up. Why? We are the kampong boys of this country. No matter how difficult the situation is down here, we will still voice out. And checks and balances is a fundamental principles of a democracy. Right? And we agree. We both agree on this. Right? Well, he is a totally changed person. Seriously. Totally changed person. We may not agree on a lot of things, even on death penalty, right? 377A, whatever it is. But I have great respect for his conviction to pursue his belief. At least he showed that he can actually stand firm on his feet and fight. Right? And that's M Ravi. Similarly, in Singapore, right? just put a post, you are kind of threatened by defamation lawsuit, right? Threatened by contempt of court, right? By the AGC, right? But it will not stop us from speaking up. But we have to be extra careful. Right? We have to be extra careful. We are not perfect. We definitely are not perfect. Right? We definitely do not say we know the law inside out. But it will not deter us from speaking up. And that is what makes Singapore great in that sense. Right? Okay. I'm going to talk about elections. Election is coming, definitely. A week ago, we received invitation, so-called, or notification by the elections department to attend a briefing because they have changes to the election rules again. This time, of course, it's about uh, election rules on advertising, right? Election advertising. So election advertising now split into two types. One is called a traditional election advertising, T, right? T, right? Then the other one is the online election advertising, OEA. There are change of rules and all that. Oh. Some rules, when they change, it seems very uh, uh, benign. Only change the concept. For example, right, I think they changed the rules because of the presidential election. Me and my team give them a lot of headache, right? Because of we fought very hard. Right? All the loopholes, all the, all the argument that goes in to and fro, we fought very hard, right? So now, last time, if you want to put a poster, you can put a poster anywhere except those not permissible. That means they have a list of places that you cannot put. For example, the trees you cannot put. You cannot hang your posters on the tree. Right? You must hang your poster at a certain height. Right? This and that. Right? You cannot hang your poster on structures that belongs to private entities or the town council. Right? That was the rule. Right? But now they changed it. They said, oh, you can only put your posters on permissible places. Right? The old rule says you cannot put posters on not permissible places. There's a list. Now, this list, some of them remains, okay. But this list, the context they change the wording, or you can now put posters in permit as long as you have permission to put. Okay, it sounds like very good, right? Or as if wow, now is lax, right? It's not. Why? If the town council say, "Oh, I don't give you permission to put your poster here and there," can you put? And PAP dominates the town council, right? Or say this place belongs to the town council, right? Actually, it doesn't belong to the town council. It belongs to HDB. They are only the agent that is managing the place, the public space, right? Right. But now they can say, we don't allow you to put. Only PAP allows to put. How? It becomes a disadvantage to the opposition. Definitely. So they thought we botak chewan, do not understand what it means. I immediately raised. Then I said, it's not fair, what? Then he said, according to the town council by rules, I said, no. Before you answer me, you think carefully. Right? It is not going to be a fair play if you have this rule. And I can tell you, private places like for example, shopping center, shopping mall, all owned by GLCs, capital land, whatever land, right? If this main shopping mall allows PAP to put their poster inside, they can do it. But they all don't allow opposition to do it. How? Because now the rules change. Last time said private properties you cannot put. Now the rules change the other way around. Right? It depends on whether the owner or the private properties allow you to put it. Right? There are a lot of implications in just a small change of concept. Right? If the old rules works well and fine and fair to all everyone, why should you change? Very simple. There's no rationale given why this rule is changed in this way. Right? Another one was raised by Brian Lim from Singapore Democratic Party, SDP, and I agree with it. Now he says this, last time, off election period, you cannot suka put your flags all around, right? And all this, okay? There's certain rules. But now, he says, right, when the writ of election is issued to the day of the nomination, whatever is put up in front of the party HQ or premises of business, for example, right, PAP kindergarten, PCF, right, or childcare center, is put up there. If they stick all the flags down there, right, they are allowed to do it, but they cannot add on anymore up to the nomination day. And you know what? When someone try to clarify, does this flags or display counted in the total number of permissible display? Because we have a limit of how many flags we can put, how many posters we can put during an election. Right? There's a certain calculation. Right? They say these are exemption. That means they do not need the stickers. We are sure at a disadvantage, what? Correct. The town council can put all the party flags. Even now, no wonder I start to see something like that. Okay? Last time, when the town council put up a posters or a banner, right? You'll say, for example, right, East Coast Town Council, Ang Mo Kio Town Council, and that's it. Now they put a lightning logo, right? PAP Town Council, under PAP Town Council. If you don't believe me, you go and take a look, right? Especially in Jalan Besar, I saw, in Ang Mo Kio, I saw. Right? They put a PAP logo down there. Town council is town council. Party is party. Why you mix them together? Right? So no wonder, right? In recent months, when I drive along some places, I saw a PCF down there. It means a childcare center and what, or the party HQ, not the HQ, the division HQ, or PAP. Wow, they have a lot of party flags all around. I said, can do that, man? I thought there's a rule that says that you cannot do that. Put so many flags all around, even off election period, right? So PAP will always have an advantage. Last time is you are not supposed to put any party logos and anything, right, in public before the election is called. Now, not only that they are allowed to do that, right, they just have to report how many, but that is not considered part of the display material limited by the election rules. Right? So everyone have an uproar lah during the briefing. Of course, Lao Jiao like us who have been not only running a, a general election, I also run a presidential election campaign, especially on the logistic and all that. There are a lot of very funny rules, what to print, additional printing and all that. Like, we fought over that, during the presidential election. Like, we waste a lot of money and effort just to comply with that stupid rule about putting who are the printers, who pay for it, who publish, who approve it. Huh? Of course, the candidate approve it lah. Still got have other people to approve it. Whatever it is, it must be a candidate responsibility, what? Right? Maybe who pay for it? Maybe because Taman's campaign, different places, they have different sponsors, one, right? Yeah, that will be interesting. But we ask the printers, can we have a foreign printers, right? Malaysian printers, for example, or the Chinese printers? They can. You say yes, as long as you print who are the printers. Then we ask, then what's the point of putting the name of the printer? They say, oh, you have been always there. What you have been always there? You change rules, you add additional thing. But the old rules is redundant, you don't take it out. We are not very convinced, right? Election departments is supposed to make sure election is run fairly, conducted fairly to every parties. But these rules seems to be disadvantage opposition or the opposition parties more, right? But put an advantage to the incumbent. If you say, okay, PAP can put their flats, no limits of flats, if there's no limit outside their division HQ, right? Each division, that means each constituency, they have the division HQ. You can put 20 flats also, nobody can care. Because if they are the own town council, as long as the town council okay, they are okay. Right? That's unfair, right? Unless you say, oh, these 20 flats will be counted as part of the total number of flats that can be displayed. Okay lah. Then that's fair. But no, exemption. Huh? We are not convinced. We are really not convinced. Right? So I may write into the election department, right, to raise my concern on the rules that they have set, they have changed actually. Right? How can such rules, right, enhance fair play? Very important. A democracy must be built upon the foundation of fair play, right? Fairness and just, right? Will not disadvantage one party while advantage the other party. That is a very simple thing that we ask for. Seriously. That's the most simple thing that we ask for. Right? So never mind. With this briefing, I hope they have a second briefing. Huh? And I tell you, there are a lot of rules and regulations. It's almost impossible for independent candidate to contest one if they set all these rules, because the independent candidate are not invited for such briefing. That's number one. Number two, you want to go through all the rules and regulations of an election. Wow, there are thousands of them, right? About the rallies, right? about nomination, our posters, online content. Online content even argue best, I tell you. It says sensational videos are not allowed. Right? Of course, AI, artificial intelligence generated videos are not allowed. Videos like that allowed. Okay? Sensational videos are not allowed. I say, sensation. What do you mean by sensational? Right? It's very subjective, right? But means are allowed. That means you used to see those means Low Kang beside this uh, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, ex-Prime Minister. They actually use that example. They put it up. Right? Right? Low Kang was sitting beside Lee Hsien Loong, and Low Kang was said, "What if the driver sleep? The co-driver will slap the driver, right? That one is allowed." Then I say, why? Oh, the reason given by them. Anyone who look at this will know that this actually not real one. It's just for entertainment, right? Then I say, okay, if I put Low Kiang kissing uh Lee Hsien Loong can or not? Then he's start again and say yes. Uh, Nobody would think is real one, right? But it's senseless. That's actually detrimental. That doesn't make sense, right? Actually, I have more question in mind that I have no time to ask, okay, because they have limited time. Right? One very simple example, because we have to declare, right, which platform, which are the social media platform we have are official platform, right? And for every post that we put up, which we boost, right? That means we pay and boost, right? Our post, we have to inform them. But it's a lot of job, It's a lot of work. You will need a specialist right now. Every post that you put out, you have to uh, uh, boost. You have to inform them, right? Never mind, right? Right? Never mind. But what about if PAP IBs got so many social platform, social media platform, which they can claim is not under their control, right? They can put out all sort of information, all sort of graphics, right? Means allow, right? To mock at us, right? To mock at us and go and boost it. It's not created by us. It's not created by or by PAP official PAP website. Right? Are they allowed to do that? The content is not created by PAP, but by their IBs, which they were not recognized as part of their campaign team, right? And they go and boost it. Can it be done? I forgot to ask this question, right? Or they just put it and they keep sharing into all the platform. They don't need to boost lah. They have so many armies of IBs. They keep sharing in different pages, different forums. Can they do that? Right? There are a lot of constraints. If they can do that, right, then all the opposition supporters you know what to do. They can do, you also can do what. It means that. So there must be clarity of rules. If you say, okay, you can only share widely, WhatsApp, Telegram, TikTok, you need to help us to share the messaging. Whatever we created as a party platformer, you can share, but you cannot boost. That is not allowed. Okay? But what about people create their own thing there and they start to share on their own? How do you draw the line? It's very strange. Right? election rules are getting complicated, and definitely it will not make life easier for the opposition, right? Because of lack of resources. That's number one, right? And we do not, even we have the resources, we do not dare to do what some other people do, right? To give money to employ people, right, as IB, but don't declare them as part of a platform. And they start to do all those funny memes, right? Like they used to have one social media platform page, right? Fabrication of PAP or something like that, right? Then the owner say, "Oh, although he was a member of PAP, but now I do not know lah. He was eh? He start to say, I don't listen to the PAP, I'm independent, a concerned citizen, right? So during election, he can do anything he wants without the rules applied to him, right? The road towards a matured democracy is very tough. That's all I can say. And we need everyone without being paid by us, because we do not have the resources. We do not have money to employ armies of IBs, internet brigades, to do all this for us. We can only hope or depend on people who share our messages, like whether my live chat, statements, right, videos, messages for us. The new contest for the next election is on the internet. Why? I always show this example. During the presidential election, we work so hard on the ground. Of course, our resources is definitely cannot compare to Taman. Taman can spend $700,000. We only send 10% of. I think Tan Kin only spend 10% of what he has spent, 70,000. I think less than that. Right? Ng Kok Song spent about 300,000, but he has no presence. I think it's a testing. He didn't put up any posters. Right? I don't think even flyers. He only focused on TikTok with a push of a cat around and take TikTok. Right? Walk the ground, I think he did a couple of walk the ground, but very minimal. No posters. But we did a lot of hard work. And Ng Kok Song actually have garner for nobody. Nobody knows him. Just because of the TikTok of pushing a cat around, right? He got 14%. I think 14 or 15% of the votes. We were shocked, right? And it dawns on us. The main battleground will go online. But going online has less barrier, but it depends on the money that you can spend. Deep pockets. Like Ng Kok Song spent $300,000, more than that. Right? He must have employed a team of social media influencer and all that. And that is why you see PAP also start to get very cozy with influencer. During one of the party or events, you saw why they invited all the influencers to the event, right? They are going to depend on all these influencers to campaign for them. we watch presidential election, how it was run, what are the results, the ROI so called. They also learn from it. And we are definitely on the losing ground. For example, by inviting all these influencers, right? Whether you pay them or not, that is another matter, right? If they start to propagate for you, right? They are not subject to the amount of money, because for every election, for every candidate, there's actually a limit of amount of money that you can spend for the numbers of voters that you are contesting in. Okay, each voters is $3 each. I think I'm not very sure about the amount right now, but if your constituencies have 150,000 people voters, then you can only spend less than 700,000. Right? That's how it counted. But you have influencer that go cozy for you and all that. You don't even need to pay them. They start to propagate for you. And that's additional win. Right? So we are lacking in such resources. And it's not going to be easy for us. Definitely. But as I said, people like M Ravi and me, we are the Singapore Kampong boys. 怕戏没照很, right? We will still fight the fight. So I hope to have your support. And the other friend of mine put it right. What I need to focus now is to raise funds. If I have $500,000, I don't need to worry whether I can fight the media war, because the media war will need a lot of money, much more than the conventional way that we know. Right? So help us to raise the money. He said $500,000, but I'm more conservative. Right? If I can get $100,000 or $200,000, that is actually a great war chest already to fight the internet media. Of course, we need all the help from all of you out there. Thank you for watching. If you like my session, please follow, like, comment, and share. And of course, if you can, make a small donation, whatever small donation it is, we really appreciate it. Good night, and thank you for watching.